Wow, you sounding mighty fine and looking even finer here on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in God's country, Tombstone, Arizona, USA. This bull usually starts to the left and comes around right. The longer he rides, the more noise you're gonna make. Oh, there's a hole. Ouch. Ow, ow. He's gonna finish the wrap. This could be an amazing ride. Tice Willis, Chico, Texas, could be getting some Arizona money. Into it, oh no, wait. Oh, helicopter, oh no. Watch yourself, watch yourself. Jump for jump, move for move. The longer it goes, the louder we get. Whoa, whoa, he's dizzy. Both of them are dizzy. Oh. How do you feel about the young man now?
We're in the Birdcage Theater, and we were just looking at why they call it Birdcage. So each of those were spots where a woman of the night, I guess, would wait and show her wares. I'm guessing if you're interested, then you went to the little cubbyhole. They've each got like a sheet or whatever that drops down, I guess, when the room is busy. It's funny, we saw something very similar to this in Amsterdam.
Yeah, very.
First ghost story. We had a young lady here by the name of Mrs. Spring back in 1882. Now Mrs. Spring had a thing called melancholy. Anybody know what melancholy is? Nowadays they call it depression, and they have medication for that. Well, back then they didn't have any medication for Mrs. Spring. So what she used to do, well, what her husband did, he was an engineer for the mines. And he would go on a lot of trips. But when he would leave, Mrs. Spring would come along here on Tough Nut and start hollering and screaming and carrying on, missing her husband. Now we're not sure which house is here because it's been lost in time, which one is Mrs. Spring's. But Mrs. Spring finally had enough. Didn't have that medication, so she closed up all the air passages, set a fire in her chimney, and obfuscated herself. Yeah, killed herself dead. At Mrs. Spring, nowadays people will be walking early in the morning and they'll hear somebody hollering and yelling and carrying on, and they think that's the ghost of Mrs. Spring. So if you're out here in the morning walking, just listen for her, you'll hear her.
Boot Hill Graveyard was laid out as a burial plot in 1878, called Tombstone Cemetery. It was the burial place for the town's first pioneers and was used as such until somewhere around 1884, when the present plot was opened as a burial place. For years after this, Boot Hill was spoken of as the Old Cemetery. It lay for years neglected, and much of the old cemetery has gone back to nature. Years of research and hard work by interested citizens of the town have helped to preserve the main part of the cemetery as we see it today. Because of the many violent deaths of the early days, the cemetery became known as Boot Hill Graveyard. It is possibly a true symbol of this roaring mining town in the early 1880s. Buried here are outlaws with their victims, suicides and hangings, legal and otherwise, along with the hardy citizens and refined element of Tombstone's first days. So much the good and so much the bad of early Tombstone lies here, and over the graves of both is growing the true crucifixion thorn.
Three-fingered Jack Donald, shot by Jeff Milton. It's written in Sharpie.
Sharpie. It stands the test.
We don't really know why people put money on these, but we thought if we scooped it all up, we could get some gas money.
I like the way you think.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's a dollar bill?
Yeah, I don't understand why people do it. Like, see them up there too.
Oh, I wonder if they're real.
Yeah, they're real. Do you think it is?
Yeah, looks like it.
I don't get it.
It doesn't feel like it. No, actually, it does.
It is real?
Yeah.
Huh.
This
Okay.
could be our best tourist event ever. Let's start
We
collecting.
could at least get our $3 of admission back. Just kidding. So these 5 guys all found guilty of killing people during a robbery in Astoria and Bisbee, and they were all hanged in one courtyard, one scaffold in the courtyard. And then that guy right there, John Heath, he was supposed to be their ringleader. Our tour guide told us about him yesterday. He was found not guilty for some reason, and a mob from Bisbee came to Tombstone, got him out of the jail, dragged him down the street a little bit past the courthouse, dragging his spurs along the ground. They lynched him up with the rope. Then they threw the rope over a light pole or something. I don't know. Maybe not a light pole. But they threw it up over there, and then they dragged him up. So, a telegraph pole. So, it took him 22 minutes to die because it wasn't a clean hanging. And he had asked for 2 things. Please give me a clean hanging and don't fill my body full of bullet holes after I'm gone. Well, they didn't shoot him up, but they did not give him a clean hanging either. So supposedly people in town have heard his spurs dragging along the sidewalk as he gets dragged to the telegraph pole. His horse became frightened and threw him off. This caused a rifle to discharge and badly injure his knee. He lay in camp for several weeks without medical attention, and when friends took him to a doctor for amputation, it was too late. We are reducing our speed because we're coming into a border patrol checkpoint.
That was rather anticlimactic. I've come through them before where we had to pull off and stop, and they looked at my face and then kept going. So that one we didn't even. Well, we slowed down, but we didn't have to pull in for them to look at us. So anticlimactic. Let's talk about Tombstone. We can wrap it up. So we were commenting on our drive here. Tombstone was not what we expected.
Should be 20 stone.
Yeah, it was maybe, I expected it to be like touristy, but it was really difficult there to find things to do when you weren't paying for it. So almost all of the tourist attractions, it cost $15-20, and I'd say $10 to $20 for almost anything you wanted to do there. And we did a bunch of stuff, but it was just this constant drain on our wallet of anything we wanted to do there. You had to shell out the money for it. So it made it a little less fun than I expected. I mean, it was super, super touristy, so that lots of fun things to do. But I think we're walking out after just like one day there.
It's probably $200.
Yeah, I'd say $200 in the can.
That's a lot of money for us.
Yeah, so would I do it again? No, I probably wouldn't, but that's because we just did it the first time. So should you do it? Absolutely, you should. Just
go to Tombstone, Arizona. You'll love it.
Yeah, just make sure you take some cash with you because a lot of places don't take credit cards. So
yeah, Tombstone was neat. I did like it. Just that every single thing cost, and that was, I don't know, I guess like if you're just going on a normal holiday, that's fine because you expect that it's going to cost you $150, $200 a day on vacation. But for full-timers, we can't go to very many towns like that or we're out of luck for the whole rest of the month. So yeah, so for a vacation, excellent. For a full-timer, a little bit spendy.
So it's kind of nice to be out here today. Donation based.
Yeah.
Checking out dinosaurs.
Super cool. Snake Ranch. Keep it in the distance.
So out here among the desert and all the dinosaurs, we spotted one of the most rare dinosaurs, a Cupiraptor. If you look close, you can see it too.
Right over there.
Notice how well she blends in with her environment. It's very difficult to see her. If you look close though, she's there. Join us next week when we tackle a dirty air conditioning.